The United States may not realize it yet, but it has just stumbled into another energy setback, and this time, it's not about oil. While Washington remains absorbed in foreign conflicts and political infighting, China is advancing where it matters most for long-term power, technology, and industrial scale. This week, that shift became impossible to ignore. On January 22, 2026, a leading global battery manufacturer officially unveiled its second-generation battery system for light commercial vehicles. But the real headline wasn't faster charging or extended range. It was something far more consequential. For the first time, a sodium-ion battery has entered true mass production for real-world vehicles. For years, sodium-ion technology was treated as a fallback, a contingency plan if lithium supplies tightened or prices spiked. It looked promising in research papers, but never quite ready for prime time. The company has now changed that narrative. This isn't a concept battery or a limited pilot run. The new low-temperature sodium-ion pack is certified, approved, and ready for deployment in working vans and trucks that operate daily and every season without excuses. The battery delivers 45 kilowatt-hours with an energy density of roughly 175 watt-hours per kilogram. That figure is significant because it places sodium-ion within striking distance of lithium iron phosphate, the chemistry currently dominating affordable electric vehicles. More importantly, it is the first battery certified under China's new GB 38031-2025 national safety standard. That certification signals something critical. This is no experiment. It is an industrial-scale product aimed at fleets, infrastructure, and measurable economic impact. But the true breakthrough isn't density. It's resilience. The company claims the battery can charge normally at -30 degrees Celsius and still retain about 90% of its usable capacity at -40 degrees Celsius. Lithium batteries struggle in extreme cold. Charging slows, resistance rises, and range drops sharply. This is not theoretical. It is why EV adoption slows in Canada, Northern Europe, and parts of the northern United States. A battery that performs reliably at -40 changes that calculation overnight. For commercial operators, reliability outweighs peak range. Delivery fleets, municipalities, emergency services, and even defense logistics prioritize uptime over bragging rights. A vehicle that starts every time, charges consistently, and performs year-round is more valuable than one that promises long range, but falters in winter. That is precisely why the manufacturer introduced sodium-ion in commercial vehicles first. These vehicles run fixed routes, return to depots, and cycle daily. They are evaluated on durability and cost per kilometer. If a battery proves itself here, it proves itself anywhere. The company rates the sodium-ion pack for more than 10,000 charge cycles, assuming one full cycle per day. That equates to nearly 3 decades of operation. Even under heavy commercial use, the battery could outlast the vehicle. That single metric transforms fleet economics. Battery replacement is typically the largest long-term cost in electrification. When the battery shifts from being a consumable component to long-term infrastructure, total cost of ownership drops dramatically. Electric vehicles become not just cleaner but structurally cheaper and more predictable. This durability is also why the company is pairing sodium-ion with battery swapping. They introduce standardized swappable battery modules ranging from 42 to 81 kilowatt-hours. Swapping only makes economic sense if batteries can endure thousands of shallow cycles without rapid degradation. Sodium-ion chemistry fits that model exceptionally well. There is also the supply chain angle. Sodium-ion systems reduce raw material costs by roughly 40% compared to traditional lithium-ion, largely because they eliminate dependence on lithium carbonate, a material known for supply bottlenecks and price volatility. Lithium carbonate recently surged past $20,000 per metric ton after production cuts and renewed demand tightened supply. Restarting mines takes years. Volatility is no longer temporary, it is structural. Sodium sidesteps that vulnerability. It is more than 1,000 times more abundant in the Earth's crust than lithium. It can be sourced from mineral salts and even seawater. There is no sodium triangle, no geographic choke point, no strategic leverage point concentrated in a few countries. From a geopolitical perspective, sodium is almost boring, and in an energy transition, boring is powerful. Technically, sodium-ion batteries operate similarly to lithium-ion systems, with ions moving between electrodes during charge and discharge. The difference lies in cost and availability. Today, sodium-ion is not dramatically cheaper because production has not scaled. but the manufacturer expects costs to fall by about 20 to 30% below LFP as manufacturing ramps up. When that happens, lithium loses its cost advantage in high-volume applications, and honestly, those applications are enormous. China alone sells roughly 900,000 light commercial vehicles annually. If you add in buses, municipal fleets, two-wheelers, battery-swapping networks, and grid-scale storage, well, the demand multiplies quickly. These sectors prioritize reliability, affordability, and supply security. Sodium-ion aligns perfectly with those priorities. Energy storage may ultimately be the biggest prize. Grid storage does not require ultra-high energy density. It requires safety, longevity, and low cost. A battery capable of cycling for decades without scarce materials fits renewable infrastructure seamlessly. Sodium-ion is already being deployed in grid projects, even outside China. In the United States, companies such as Natron Energy and Peak Energy are exploring sodium-ion solutions for grid and data center applications, but production remains limited and largely pilot-based. The technology is still being validated at scale. Meanwhile, Chinese firms are industrializing it. The company is not alone. BYD is investing heavily in sodium-ion manufacturing facilities. Hina Battery is already supplying sodium-ion cells for low-speed vehicles and two-wheelers. This is not a roadmap for the distant future, it is unfolding in real time. The critical insight here is that sodium-ion does not need to replace lithium everywhere. It really only needs to dominate where lithium struggles most: cold climates, high-cycle fleets, cost-sensitive markets, and long-duration energy storage. That is precisely where deployment is beginning. Lithium will, of course, remain essential for high-performance electric vehicles, but most vehicles are not performance machines. They are workhorses, delivering goods, powering infrastructure, storing renewable energy. For those roles, sodium-ion may prove more practical. Once fleets, charging networks, and grid operators optimize around a chemistry, switching becomes expensive and slow. What makes this moment particularly significant is timing. The world is still heavily invested, both financially and politically, in lithium infrastructure. Billions have been poured into mining expansion, refining capacity, and subsidy programs built around lithium-ion assumptions. A rapid sodium-ion scale-up does not eliminate lithium, but it does dilute its strategic importance. That reduces exposure to mineral choke points and weakens the resource nationalism that has defined the battery race so far. In effect, sodium-ion does not just compete with lithium technologically, it reshapes the power dynamics surrounding it. There is also the question of energy security. For countries reliant on imported oil and lithium, sodium offers a domestic alternative. The United States has vast deposits of soda ash and salt, the raw materials for sodium-ion cathodes and electrolytes. In principle, American firms could build a sodium-ion supply chain independent of China, but doing so would require coordinated investment, streamlined permitting, and a willingness to treat battery manufacturing as strategic infrastructure. That level of alignment has been elusive. Political cycles, trade disputes, and competing priorities have slowed progress. The result is a widening gap between intent and execution. While policy debates continue in Washington and Brussels, factories in China are already stamping out sodium-ion cells by the millions. For policymakers and industry leaders outside China, the window for response is narrowing. Accelerating sodium-ion research and development is necessary but, not sufficient. What really matters is deployment. Pilot projects, demonstration fleets, and procurement mandates can create early demand that supports domestic manufacturing. Partnerships with mining companies and chemical producers can secure raw material supply. Regulatory frameworks can prioritize safety and performance standards that align with domestic capabilities. But all of this requires a sense of urgency that has been largely absent. The temptation is to treat sodium-ion as a distant possibility rather than an emerging reality. That misreading carries risks. By the time the technology is impossible to ignore, the competitive landscape may already be locked in.